Okay, we are back again. As you might notice, this is a very, very stacked kind of couple of weeks for the Goose podcast. This is my fifth or sixth recording in the last 2 weeks. And to be honest with you, this I think is going to be one of the more interesting conversations. We've covered financial technology, we've covered transport technology, we've covered artificial intelligent customer service, and today we're going to talk about accessibility. And with me, I have Shelley Cowan, who is the founder of. I'm going to miss one of these because there's so many. We have the founder of JustUs,
Yeah.
we have Access Avenue, we have TravelEase,
That's it.
and we have Speaker.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, but I didn't find that.
Woo, close enough. Right. So I suppose if you want to introduce yourself, tell us who you are, what you're up to, and why we do what we do.
Okay, I'm Shelley Cowan. I'm from County Fermanagh. I was confined to bed at the age of 15 for 4,380 days, which is 12 years. And then I navigated a world that wasn't built for me as a wheelchair user for another decade. And now I'm able, with support of carers and friends, I'm able to walk up, with their shoulder, and they've helped me climb mountains. So basically what I do is all on the back of lived experience, but not unlived experience. There's a passion in me to help others not go through the same. Through my illness and through my experiences, I've realised that there are millions in the same situation as myself, and that is what I'm doing today.
This is why even when I bumped into you a couple of weeks ago, I was like straight away, I was like, right, you need to come on and talk, because I've obviously done a bit of research on the different projects and everything you do, and holy shit, like it's extremely impressive. For me, I think it's one of those things that it should be obvious, but it just, like, accessibility is just like, it's one of them unseen things. It's like, maybe I'm wrong, and this is exactly why we're having this conversation. I think it's something that people can forget, or they don't consider, or like even little things like event spaces, like how do we get upstairs?
I'll tell you about that later.
Yeah. So I suppose, like, which of the three products, which of the three businesses, did these all happen kind of simultaneously, or what was the journey from where you kind of start? What was the starting point for all this? Because as you said, this is
probably, I was confined to bed for 12 years, but once I got my wheels, I thought, have wheels will travel, and unfortunately that wasn't the case. I realised that I wanted to go and re-educate myself. I left school at 15, and everything I went to do, there was a barrier. There wasn't a hoist in college. I wanted to go to pubs and clubs, even though I didn't drink. I had this yearning just to get out and do like everybody else.
Yeah.
I had lost my teenage years. I was in my 30s, but I was wanting to relive my teenage years. And at the start, it was great being lifted up the stairs in wheelchair by 4 sexy bouncers, and thought, oh, this is great.
It's not a bad day, really, is it?
But then you come to realise, one wrong move, and that was 5 of us hurt, and possibly my wheelchair damaged. And you start to realise then this is not how life is.
Yeah.
I couldn't go and visit friends, family. I couldn't socialise. I couldn't go to theatres. If I got to a theatre, I was one of 3 seats. If there may be 100 left, but because I physically couldn't get out of my wheelchair, then I couldn't go. Cinema seats, if you ever notice, a wheelchair user usually has to sit beside the bin. And normally that kind of started to rile me, and I started to get a bit annoyed. Now, at that stage, I was going through annoyance of myself and frustration with life, and why me? And then I realised as I got into society that actually there was more than me. And so I thought, there's a wee bit of stubbornness in me, actually quite a bit. So I thought, well, if I can't physically go to these places and we can't go, then I started to hire up hotel rooms and bring in DJs and entertainment. And I thought, if we can't go to the pubs and clubs, well, I'm going to make it happen.
Okay, yes, I'm here for that.
So I did a Christmas one, and the response was, when are we having the next one? Now, at that, I had paid. I was naive. I thought I could hire a community hall, no bother, get a DJ. And then realised that the community hall was attached to the council, which I needed to provide insurance for. So that actually was building up and building up. And when people wanted more, I suddenly thought, hold on here, I'm on a benefit. I cannot physically do this. So we put together volunteers in a committee, and Just Us was born. So it was born in 2020. And again, a wee bit of wanting to fight back to society. Just Us was a pun on justice. So Just Us provides adults with disabilities regular social activities in safe, inclusive and accessible venues. That has moved on from discos and entertainment. We now have been singing in the Ulster Hall for BBC Sing. We take them on educational trips, and we're planning more events. We've got walk and talk, cheer and beer, karaoke. We have adults who arrived to us 4 or 5 years ago that I didn't realise could speak. Their confidence was very low, and now they're getting up on stages and they are holding the microphone, and they would put us all to shame because they have such confidence, because they have been given these safe and inclusive areas to thrive, really.
Sure.
So that's how Just Us was born.
That's amazing. Like, there's certain things there that you kind of said that kind of resonates with me. I'll give you the background. Everybody that knows me knows this. I was actually born with no skin from my neck to my waist. So all my internal organs were actually on the outside when I was born. So nobody would notice it looking at me or whatever like this. But things like bathrooms and stuff growing up, it was like, if I had to go, I had to fucking run. Because essentially they just like stitched at the front of me. So all the stuff that's in there is just kind of like a bad Build-A-Bear situation. Just tuck it back in and fucking hope for the best. Like, there's no real science behind it, but it's definitely something that when I was growing up, like teachers in school or people in the place, and it's like, I need to go to the bathroom. It's like, well, you can wait like everybody else. Like, not really an option here, guys. And then you end up having to lift up the shirt and like in a queue for a concert or something like that, and you'd have to lift up the shirt and be like, hey, and then they look at the scar and go, okay, fuck, you're not lying, go. But it's almost because you're not, like, as you said, like visibly, that there's visible things, and that it's kind of just like, all right, you're fine. And like, there's other things here.
It's a sad situation that you actually had. I know you've got the humor and you've laughed it off, but it's sad that you actually had to do that to get people to understand. I'm going through that now at the minute. Everybody has seen me as a wheelchair user, and they saw the symbol of what we are known as a wheelchair user. It's like disabled wheelchair user. But only 7 to 8% of the population is a wheelchair user. So that symbol doesn't actually represent society. So even that symbol is outdated now, and it makes people feel, as a wheelchair user, I knew that symbol, but now that doesn't suit me anymore. And people, you go to accessible parking, it's a wheelchair user. So people, that's where frustrations start in society. So I think there's a whole shift needed there. But that's me on another topic.
No, but this makes a lot of sense. Like, this is why it makes a lot of sense. So something like, as you said, Just Us, it was born out of
a need,
fucking annoyance as well, that you couldn't, like, an absolute need, but also this annoyance that, like, pubs, clubs, places are not considering the breadth and variety of people who want to attend, just like be involved in things. It's like, well, sorry, because I have a disability, I can't participate in day-to-day life. Get fucked.
Basically.
Get fucked. I love this idea.
Stick your middle finger up to the world.
So how does Just Us work now?
Just Us is 5 years, so it's my baby. Honestly, it's my baby. I'm so passionate about it. I work 40 to 50 hours voluntary for it, and we have such a great team of volunteers. Our chairperson is actually our volunteer bus driver, so anybody that comes into my life actually has to love Just Us. They have to get involved. But we have a dinner dance, which is now an annual dinner dance, and we had 120 members there a couple of months. So this is not only helping. When I set it up, I thought it was just to help ourselves, get in touch with a few friends. It's now become a lifeline to so many in society. It's broadening out to the different counties, and we have people coming from several counties. And it's not only, this was a shocker to me, I didn't think that it would do this. It's helping the carers, the family and the friends, but it's also helping the volunteers. So the volunteers would say to me, I have a purpose in life. and the carers feel that they can come out of that the routine of doing the mundane with everybody and actually get in to speak with people in the same situation. And you know what? Disability, accessibility, inclusion is never mentioned in the group. It's just fun. From the minute we walk in through the door, like, I'm their big auntie. I'm their big silly auntie, and that's it.
But that's what it is. It's like do you know what it is? It's almost that thing of, this is a space where we can just be like, it doesn't need to be we don't need to have a conversation about something, because we spend so much of our time in other aspects of our life having to have this fucking conversation. So it's almost like a double up from my understanding. It's like, here's a space where you can just fucking be, but then also let's have some fun and enjoy ourselves, and like things like karaoke. Honest to God, I don't think I'd have the nuts to get up on stage and do karaoke, even though I love talking and I love bouncing around the place.
They love it.
Absolutely
love it.
Couldn't. Like, how many events then roughly do you put on a year? Like, is it kind of like a quarterly thing?
It's about 3 a week.
3 a week?
Yeah. Monday night is walk and talk. We have Wednesday, we have a choir. Sometimes we're actually starting up the gym again, so we're trying to be as inclusive. So we're getting involved with local gyms to make everybody now start to know us. We start to go around different pubs so that they, Enniskillen start to know us. They want the group. We're bringing in the money into the group, but we're also bringing the fun. So within 5 years, it's gone from a community which is quite rural, calling people wheelchair users and mobility aid, and now they're seeing just us as the party goers. They're seeing us with people with names and our characters and our personalities, and they just love having us. They, there was such support. They do quizzes, and they give birthday donations, and you name it, they're donating left, right, and centre to the group.
That's so cool. Do you know what? I was expecting like one a month, one a quarter, like not 3 a week. And considering what else you're doing, to be doing this on top of, where do you get time to I don't know, breathe? It's just like, fuck it.
Well, I flew in from London last night. I got home about 1:30, 2, and I was back up again this morning at 6. And I can't use my hands. I've partial sighted, so I start on voice recognition, and I start emails, and I start again. And if it's not through my work, then it's through trying to get. I'm the organizer as well for JustUs, so trying to get buses organised and different things. But do you know what? If I didn't have it, I am not going to sit in this room and sit and whinge to myself and moan about how life is. I am just I have to keep going. This is my purpose in life, and it's my passion, and it's what keeps me burning inside.
Do you know what? There's that sentence is exactly it. No, it is that, it's that exact sentence. It's the thing of, and it's something I definitely figured out when I was growing up. It's like people who were, we'll say, outside of the what you'd call class, I suppose, the day to day. It's kind of like, people want to feel, people who are actually special spend their whole younger life trying to fit in, and then you get to a point where it's like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to mold the world around me to how it should be. Whereas so many other people who are completely able-bodied, there's a lot of this attitude of moaning and whinging, which it's not everybody. Again, the amount of people I've met down the years where it's like, well, I can't do A, so I'm going to do B. Why? Because the world's not going to stop me and tell me I can't anymore. And it's this brilliant fucking mindset of going, okay, no, instead of expecting the world to bend to me, I'm going to bend it.
Well, I have a saying that if somebody says no to me, you can't do it, I'll say, watch me. Because I will bend the rules so much. I will make it happen. So if anybody out there knows how to get me skydiving, because that's my next mission, I want to go skydiving, but I would need to be attached to a sexy jumper, and somebody can take me down, but I cannot lift my legs at the end. That's the only reason I can't do it. So somebody out there, please lift my legs. I'm only light.
I'm actually going to put that as one of the headlines of the post here when I post this up on LinkedIn and stuff later. It'll be like, P.S. if we can figure out a skydive here, let's talk.
Let's talk.
Jesus, honestly, that's one I'd never do.
No.
And this is where my mother gets her now. My mother gets a shout out on this podcast every week. I don't know how, but here we are. Before I was born, she actually jumped out of a plane, and this was pre-health and safety. So the woman has 2 metal ankles, which meant that the old Irish mammy, her weapon of choice as childhood was the flip flop. The first one would get tossed at you, and that gave her the 3-4 seconds to close in the gap, because you'd hear the fucking ankles going to come at you. So she couldn't sneak up on anybody. So you'd have to do the duck and dive
So
while
you
the
were
second flip
hiding
flop
first.
came. Nobody needs to call the
Brilliant.
Samaritans. My mother's a lovely person. She didn't beat us. she just threw flip flops at us. It's fine.
The poor man's scarred for life.
Come here. If she heard that, she's going to kill me later. It's fine. It's fine. No, I love this. So, like, what's the plan with JustUs now? Are we looking at kind of expanding outside of the north? We're looking at expanding within the north. What's our big game plan here?
Oh, I have so many. If everybody knew what was in my head and the want of what I want to do with JustUs was in my head, they'd be saying you're crazy. At the minute, we've been approached to bring it into the next county and the next county. It's literally just getting enough donations to keep that going and, supporting as many people as we can. I also worry that if we did go wider, that I dilute what I'm able to do here. Yeah. But I just think it needs to be replicated in every community throughout the world. This is a cross community, it's cross cultural, you name it, it's everything in it. And we don't, separate disabilities. As long as you're an adult, that's the only criteria. An adult with disabilities, and that's the only criteria. And it is so much fun. But you try organising events to suit every single need. It's fun. But it actually shows how life is.
The stuff you wouldn't even think of even until it's like last second, and then you go, oh right, yeah. Mm-hmm. This is even like, because I've obviously worked in events and stuff in the past, and even at every event I've ever been to, there's always this last minute thing of, and it's normally something that was so obvious and front and center that you're like, how did we not remember? Like, I was at an event 3 years ago where they forgot to plug in the fridge with the drinks. And it was just such a small thing. They put the fridge in, had it where it was, like the kind of vending machine style fridge. And it was like, oh yeah, we need to now get an extension lead to run the plug to it. It was like,
forgot to turn it on.
Yeah. It was like an hour beforehand being like, oh, the drinks are warm. This is a few years. This is a few years ago in Dublin. It was a small event kind of thing, but it was just a small thing, and it was like, you could have put that machine anywhere, maybe near a plug.
Yeah, we got accepted to go and sing for BBC Sing in the Ulster Hall, and we had buses arranged for everybody, and we were so excited, and we practiced for weeks and weeks, and went up to Belfast. And unfortunately, one of our members couldn't actually sing with us on stage. They had the facilities to get her there, but the lift broke. So we were all on stage, about to do our song, and it was awful because we went as a team. Mm. The facilities were there, they were all checked through, and it just didn't work on the day. And you just be gutted, because when you leave one of your team standing aside, you think, do we do it? Or, she gave us the go ahead to do it, but you're on that stage just thinking, oh God, this is so unfair. What do you do in that situation? That's what you sometimes be left with, and it's crazy.
No, I actually I actually understand that it's that thing of, and I'm sure she would have been in a place where it was like, go and do it for the whole group and for everybody. Yeah. And I'm sure she was still delighted to see you all do it, but yeah, you put all the best structure.
You can literally put everything in place, and just on that one day. So that's what I'm saying. Please maintain lifts. Please maintain all your equipment. If you have it, just maintain it, because that could be the difference in somebody actually experiencing something they have never experienced in their life. And imagine if we all had been on that stage, it would have been fabulous. Yeah. It was fabulous as it was, but just leave.
But you have that little tinge of that one member of the group. Yeah. And that's the part that you'll always, I suppose, remember have leaning on the shoulder of, okay, next time we can't, let's not leave any behind and stuff.
Anyone behind. Yeah. Until no one is left behind, that's the only answer.
Yeah. That's what we're doing.
You said something earlier about AI, and I believe there's another AI that's just, if not more, critical in society, and that's accessibility and inclusion. So if we can advance our technologies at this speed, we need to advance our humanity. Yeah. And there's definite need for it.
Do you know what? I think that's something that gets lost in innovation. because the amount of people I'll hear bitching about, AI or voice or this, that, and the other, and like, you're a great example, obviously, of, well, these advancements have allowed me to run multiple companies simultaneously. You can run at you can literally run faster than anybody else because you're leveraging every tool that's in your arsenal to be like, here's what I can achieve. So it goes to show that if you use the right tools in the right place, you can actually do tech for good. You can actually bring something to the table that's not just about profiteering. It's about people. And I always find that the best interviews I've ever had are the ones where there's a human element behind it. Look, profits are great. We all want money. If we're going to be realistic, we all want money. But at the end of the day, if we can do something to push and develop on people and actually make people's lives better and stuff like that, like, that's the whole point of any of this. Like, I had an interview before where there's a woman who was making a product for perimenopause. We had another girl who was doing educational stuff for teaching assistants in schools. We had Cubby. Cubby is amazing. They're getting
yes, I met her. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant. Wow. Like, they're getting onboarded into most of the libraries here now over the next year.
It's Megan, isn't it?
Yep. Like, the library near me only got one in 2 months ago, and I was actually like, do you know what? I'm a little bundle of stress. I might have to pop down one of the days myself just to see does it help in like a sensory room like that that's customized for my personal brand of insanity. Might be good. But one of the lads that was actually involved with that, what was mental. This is a great interview, actually, and you can find it over at Goosed.ie. No, Joe does. Your man that made Cubby for his daughter, he has an ambassador. He's actually a young fella who has 2 brothers who were using the service and using the product, and he's actually going over to America now to become an NFL kicker. And what he found was when he was developing this skill, because he has 2 legs that are actually different lengths, which means he can actually kick the ball really, really far. So he's using his skills to his fucking advantage. But he found that when he went to his first trial, he was all over the place. And he basically, one of his brothers suggested using the thing as well and giving it a go. And he was like, I felt like just calmer and able and ready. So now he's actually like, every once in a while when he's feeling a bit overwhelmed, he's like, it's actually helped him understand his brother's, like, it's a situation where he's feeling overwhelmed and stuff like that.
Yes.
So even just that thing of, he got involved with Cubby because he basically used it in conjunction with a conversation with his brother, and now he's becoming an advocate with the brand for this. And I think that's a huge piece of this kind of puzzle and adventure, is making people like me, making people like everybody we see at the Dublin Tech Summit or all these different events, making us more aware of what's, because I don't think it's intentional.
I don't think people realize, we go about our everyday life, and it's only until you're in these situations you realize. But the unfortunate thing is, statistics are showing us that every single one of us is likely to have a form of disability within our lifetime. And if we put down the foundations now, then it will make life so much easier for the next generations, and they can work, travel, and live with confidence. I have a dream, and it's inclusive, sustainable futures for all.
No, I think there's huge scope just in JustUs alone. Like, I'm actually going to say it straight out here now. If there's somebody who wants to be like the advocate in Limerick, Dublin, Clare, Cork, Galway, wherever it might be, who's listening to this and goes, oh yeah, there's definitely a way I can do this here. Like, Shelley's here, talk to her. Like, let's see if we can actually expand this program, project, and business and bring it outside of the north, because I think there's great scope here. Like, I know alone in Limerick, we have great spaces there, like, where people, do events. A lot of the time, I'm sure there's 90% of the bars, pubs, clubs, hotels would be more than happy to put on events. It's just having...
all you need is somebody to give you a venue, somebody to maybe give a one-off event, or to sing for you, or give an entertainment. Sometimes it's lovely just to give back to society, and you're not asking all your time, just something. And it's amazing.
100%. So I think if there's anybody who wants to be the advocate in any location outside of that particular spot in the north, well, guess what? we have the boss right here. Go and talk to her, and let's see if we can actually create this kind of infrastructure in other counties and actually build it from here. Because, like, Honestly, 3 events a week. You're a mental case. I love it. I love
I
it.
have, I've got a great team of volunteers and committee
Yeah.
behind me, and we actually have, which is lovely. Our committee consists of people with disabilities, a range of them, their parents and their carers, so everybody knows either they're going through it or they actually know what is involved in it. So it's really lovely. It actually is so meaningful, and
Yeah.
that's what keeps it going, because they all have the lived experience there. It's brilliant.
Beautiful. So, like, right, let us move away from Just Us.
Mm-hmm.
Which happened next? Because
Which happened
I'm still
next
trying to put
was,
together this whole journey here. So we have Just Us. We're running that. We started that 5-6 years ago. It's still happening now. Well, as we said, we have 2 other businesses, and we're a speaker and advocate as well. So where did we go next?
well, at 15 I left school with no qualifications, and I came home from school and I wasn't sure what my life was going to be, because every day I was getting weaker and weaker. And then eventually, I lost my memory through my illness, and
Oh no, we've had a minor technical difficulty here. Shelley will be back in a moment. So while we wait for Shelley's camera to return, there'll probably be someone coming in there to help set that up. But anyway, I will fill this space happily for a moment. So basically, as I said, we met Shelley a couple of weeks ago up at the Dublin Tech Summit, and just even hearing her story and hearing what she's working on and everything was
sorry.
huge. It's okay. I was filling the time when you got back quickly. Anyway, sorry, where were we? Sorry. So what I was saying was, okay, so we had Just Us. You were saying, obviously, you left school at 15, and then we kind of went from there. The audio's gone. Okay, that's fine. While you figure out the audio, I'm just going to keep talking. Look, these things happen. Technical glitches happen. It's okay. That's fine. But while Shelley is organizing, trying to get her audio back on, the sound is gone. So while Shelley's audio is waiting to return, what we're going to do is I'm just going to fill the space. Shelley, you can't hear me right now, can you? No. There's a box here in the bottom left-hand corner that has a message where I'm. So basically, what's happening here is Shelley's video went for a moment, and the audio is returning. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to remove her for a moment and let her back in. Anything? Okay.
Can't hear you.
I'm just going to have to remove Shelley for a moment, and then we're going to return her. Anyway, while we're waiting for her to return, sorry, apologies for that issue. Basically, what happened there was the camera dropped temporarily. We're going to have her back in a second. I believe we have her back now.
I'm back.
Okay,
Sorry,
perfect.
guys.
Apologies that the camera dropped and then the audio went. So I was just trying to fill the gap while.
Sorry.
It's all right. It's all right.
This is what happens when you need voice recognition software and packages. Somebody phoned me and it just knocked everything out.
Look, it happens. So apologies for that minor delay, everybody. It's okay. Basically, what we were saying before I went on my random tangential rampage there was, you said you basically left school at 15.
Yes.
And we were going towards the next piece of the journey here, and that's kind of when everything went tits up and broke down on us.
Yeah, well, so I wanted to go back into education, and that was a major part of my life, and went back as a wheelchair user and did my essential skills and social access diploma. And then I got the love for learning. So I went and I did an international business foundation degree and master's through my voice.
You have to say masters.
Yeah. And at the same time, I had a want to go to travel. So in order for me to be able to go away overnight, I required 2 carers. And it took me 2 months to source adequate accommodation. And Then I had to purchase a portable hoist at £1,200 just to be able to be transferred to be toileted and be transferred into bed. So you can imagine the scene where I arrive overladen with carers and a car full, and one's pulling a portable hoist, and to get it in through the hotel or the accommodation, it was very heavy, so we attached a dog lead to it. So one was going through a hotel door, pulling a hoist up the hall. Another one was navigating my chair, and I was the wee donkey with all the bags, my box of food, because guess what? Hotels and accommodation and you name it, venues do not provide for dietary requirements. Well, as awkward as mine. So number one was accessibility difficulties, and then it was dietary requirement challenges. So you get it from all angles with me. So then I thought, this was another mission of mine. So it started off with entertainment. So I tried to fix that part, and then travel. So between not being able to physically go to these places, and then I was also doing my master's, I decided, well, why don't I do my dissertation on hospitality and the economy within access? Okay. So I put the two together, and I interviewed 100 wheelchair users, international wheelchair users, and I discovered the priorities of what they all need. And I discovered that there was 4 failing areas. And guess what? It came under the acronym FAIL. So it's functionality, attitudinal, institutional, and FAIL. No, and logistical. So it all makes FAIL. Oh. And from that, I have now put together a framework, which is it's as easy as ABC to implement, and it's called the fail-proof model of inclusive excellence. So I'm working with that then, and that's moving us on to TravelEase. And I am putting together a grading system so that it will streamline people going on holidays, their access needs, their dietary requirements, and it becomes a one-stop shop for everybody. And I'm doing all my research, all my lived experience, and that of others, and it's all going into this one tech for good.
There's someone I need you to talk to. No, I genuinely, this is after clicking an idea in my head. So there's a guy that I'm doing the Enterprise Ireland New Frontiers with. He's Stephen O'Sullivan's his name. He was actually on a podcast earlier this year. He is creating a product called I Left You a Note for instant feedback loop and consultation with hotels. So when you're in your hotel, if there's something missing, like a towel, you're not running down to reception, you're not doing this, that, and the other. You can scan codes across the room and send feedback. So yeah, there's definitely a crossover there where it's a case of use his infrastructure on your system and blast the hotels. So I'm going to send you his contact details after.
Thank you so much.
And I know
I appreciate it.
And he watches this fucking religiously, so I'm fully expecting my phone to ping off in the next 5 minutes, being like.
Well, it was again a bit like a fire burning in me once I was hearing the experiences, not just my own, but this time from others. And I was being told that people were sleeping in pool loungers because they couldn't fit into the room. 50% of Americans that I interviewed would not travel on a plane because they were afraid of their wheelchair being damaged. Now, one of the quotes that I got is so heartbreaking. They said, imagine if I treat my wheelchair as my legs. Imagine if I'm in a foreign country and my legs essentially are broken. That's the wheelchair is broken. What do I do? So they're left in a country, maybe they can't speak the language, the wheelchair is broken. First of all, they can't enjoy the holiday they set off to do, but how do they get home? How do they get help? And, for me, I had the stubbornness to keep going. For most, they don't. Yes, a lot of people with disabilities still can travel, but by the time I got into that hotel room, and then there was no bed for the carer. They had to start blowing up mattresses, and they had to start pumping or inflating pressure relieving mattresses for me. I can tell you that my respite to go to the Lisburn Premier Inn as my first holiday was far from a holiday. And this is what I do, but it's for those people who can't participate that I do this. And, I just want everybody to explore equal, effective, enjoyable experiences. Yeah. No matter what that is, whether that's travel, whether it's education, whether it's just simply going to a theatre or a pub, just to enjoy.
My head is spinning right here, by the way. I'm like, this makes so much sense, and there's like an awful lot of scope in it, in the sense that like if I could look up a hotel and automatically, like a booking.com, like an accessibility rating being on a platform like a booking.com or on the website or on the hotels, you're almost like doing like a star rating system for hotels.
But
Sorry,
it's
my
going to be
head is,
it's a grading system. So
yeah,
once somebody puts in their criteria, they will only be shown the accommodation that suits them. No longer will they be filtering, going through what they don't need. You know, people don't have the time, and it's hard enough daily routine to keep going without this other stuff
I
that's
got
not
you. So
necessary.
basically, what we want to do is create like a repository on the TravelEase website, essentially, where it's going to be a list of hotels, tourist destinations,
Absolutely.
all of these type of things.
Activities, yes, absolutely. I've had accessible and inclusive boating trips. I've had people come to me with activities, all wanting to be on this app, and you know it's going to be launched now in the next couple of months. It's still getting,
Just
you know,
about to ask there.
it's refining and refining, but I want it to be at the right point.
Yeah,
You know, I want it to be, but I feel it's a very exciting thing. I know that it's going to help so many people.
you need to have a chat with Fall Child, and what you need to do. There, you know, because there's this program called, I'm probably speaking out of turn here. There's this program called Digital That Delivers, and essentially it's about upgrading the tourist infrastructure and websites and stuff like this for Irish hotels and tourist destinations and this, that, and the other. Yeah, this makes, there's a connection there.
Well,
I don't necessarily know anybody in there, but I'm sure you have already been having conversations.
not just at the minute, but it's on my list to do. And you know, from that research, I realised that 100% of the people I interviewed found it challenging, or maybe couldn't at all find these suitable accommodations or activities. 85% of them feel that the information about these places on their website is either false or exaggerated. The other flip side of that is there are so many places and activities and venues out there that are accessible, and they're not shouting it from the rooftops. You know, we need to shout what we have. We need to celebrate the accessibility and inclusion that we have.
Yeah.
And if we don't know about it, we're not going to be going to these places. The other thing is we are loyal customers. Once we find somewhere that meets our needs, we are going to go back and go back. You know, it takes that, you know, awkwardness out of it.
Yeah.
And not only that, we're going to shout it from the rooftops to our friends and family.
Everybody else in your network, that it's like, well, I had a great experience at this place.
This place, you need to go. And the other thing is we are the midweek. We are the off-peak. You know, we can go any day, you know, and that's another. And we also, the majority of us go with companions, which is making more economical sense. It's worth, the purple pound is the power of this disabled spending power, and it's worth £274 billion annually in the UK alone. It's worth $18 trillion when you combine their companions and friends globally, annually. Now, why are we not getting involved?
I'm flabbergasted. I'm genuine. You can see my face. I'm like, what?
25% of us, 20 to 25% of us are disabled at the minute, and that number's rising. By 2050, the number of those aged 65 and over is going to double. You can just imagine the need that's out there, and it's mind-boggling how it's not. I understand there are, you know, low margins, and we're all suffering from economic, you know, difficulties and stuff. But what I'm going to tell you now is I'm doing this, and I'm still working on a benefit.
Yeah.
And if I can do this, then people that have the backing and have the money and the possibilities can do so much more.
It's not like places like hotels and these safe places are not going to be able to get access to grants and stuff like that if they really actually wanted to upgrade and stuff like this. But
a big change, you know, that costs nothing. Yeah. Move something out of the way so a wheelchair user can get round it. So somebody that is blind, partially sighted, doesn't trip over something. When they get into a reception, just think every guest that comes through your door, whether it rolls or whether they walk, you know, it's, this person is likely to have a need. Now, that could be a change in bed for a child. It could be dietary requirements. It could be that the heating needs to go up, and it could be access needs. So to me, the big thing here is that our frontline staff in all venues would need a bit of disability training, and maybe just simply come back to realising this is a welcoming industry, the hospitality sector and tourism, and we need to start realising who in fact are we being welcome to.
Yeah.
And I think society fears accessibility and inclusion like an elephant fears the mythical mouse. A lot of the time they think, what if it's too expensive, and what if it's not going to work, and what if we fail? But you know something, doing something and committing to one thing, whether that's small, and that one thing could be just simply asking that person, how can I help you? And when somebody goes the extra mile, that is worth more than accessibility. You know, to know that you have somebody there that you can ask for help is worth so much more. There's so many things. I remember going to a hotel, and you know, part of the deal was that I got a spa treatment or leisure centre. So I told my carer, you know, bring your swimsuit. We're going. This is big stuff. We're getting into a pool. So got all excited, and I still need help, so I can't stand on my own. So got to the changing area. There was no accessible changing, so I thought, okay, well this is okay. We'll work around it. So we
Sure.
had to ask for a chair at reception just to sit me down and get changed. So I thought I was starting to realise, you know, something wasn't right.
Yeah.
And then got out to the pool, and my carer said to me, do you want the good news or do you want the bad news? So I said, well, you give me the bad news, because it can only be good after that. So she said, it's a ladder down into the pool. So I sat for 5 minutes in the baby pool, and I thought, I've had enough of this.
Yeah.
And I just left.
Yeah.
Now, at that stage, I had to get washed and dressed, and it was fun trying to get me showered in a space that just wasn't built for me. And, you know, it's simple things like just think, is your spaces accessible? And, you know, even can a wheelchair user fit onto the table? Can you bring everyone to your table
Yeah.
without them sitting in an aisle or getting something hot spilt on them or tuts coming at them because you're in the road? It's simple thinking some of the times. And it's, you know, you think of accessibility as I'm going to hammer down a wall. It's not always about that. Yes, there is parts of that where lifts may be needed or maintenance, but overall it's sometimes just revamping a room to suit a different space.
Sometimes it can just be small things. Like,
Absolutely. Small things mean big changes, yeah.
I'm shocked that the hospitality side is so far behind. But as you said, it's like 100% of people you interviewed. Like, the fact that everybody you interviewed has had an issue in some capacity with travel, that, and if you have one or two bad experiences, like, you're a strong fucker. Like, you're not going to be the type who's like, because I know myself, if I had to sit in a baby pool for 5 minutes, I'm like, I'm not coming back here again. Shove this. I'm not doing it. Like, you're have to make, do you know what I mean? I'd be like, no, you're after making a fool of me now, telling me
Yeah.
this was fine. And I'm sitting
Yeah.
in a baby pool, I'd have kicked up all kinds of stuff. Whereas you're literally like, no, okay, we're going to find a way
Might
to
as
make
well
this.
get my feet wet, like.
Yeah. Whereas I go, nah. And
I've
I would
gone this
throw a
far.
full on tantrum, be like, you told me A, B, C, and D, and nah, this is nonsense. But then it's just like if somebody, but I can see why how people, like, if they have one or two bad experiences where they just go, I'm not going to travel anymore because it's not worth being made to feel like shit about myself for just wanting a holiday or something like
Well,
that.
I'll be honest, I have put up with quite a bit of discrimination through my illness. I've been asked as a wheelchair user to leave a restaurant just simply because of my disability. I've been asked, I've been asked to leave a classroom full of my classmates when I was in my 30s as a mature student, asked so that they could have a vote on whether I was to remain or stay or to go. And, you know, I've been laughed at by 3 staff members in a major supermarket who question my sexuality because I require female support. Now, those are only small, but it's that attitude that goes along with inaccessibility that actually is enough to put people that they will never leave the house. I
Yeah.
didn't go back to that major supermarket for 8 weeks because I was terrified to hear the trolley, because one of them was a trolley attendant. And something came over me and just said, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I need to stand up, and I need my voice to shout loud and clear so that this doesn't happen to other people.
No, I actually get that, because I had, with some of the stuff with the stomach, I was told there were certain things that weren't going to necessarily be normal for me, and I was like, you'll fucking see. that very much became a thing
I
then.
love it.
Very much became a thing during my teenage years. It was like things like, yeah, you maybe not, maybe you shouldn't do that. I was like, bitch, I'm indestructible. I'm fine. Let's see what happens here. Certain things we learn not to do, but
Yeah.
that's fine.
You learn to do it not the second time anyway.
I mean, like,
or third.
I mean, no. If the summary of it has become that over the length of my teens is that we don't fuck with dairy, and that's about the limit of the problems, then that's okay. Like, there was other stuff, but like, if that's like the highlight of it, that we don't have pizza, and that's going to be the thing that depresses me, it's like, I can live with the rest of it. It's fine.
Everybody would love my diet. I'm gluten-free, dairy-free, meat-free, refined sugar-free, and yeast-free. So I am the chefs. They love me. They love to see me
I
coming
can
through.
imagine, yeah. Here is some toast.
I push their boundaries. I really do.
You know what? We call that adding layers of creativity to this. It's like, here's everything. If you can now make me a 3-course meal out of this list.
So lettuce and water it is, I'm usually told.
Yeah. Come here. I like this. No, so like, basically, as you said, we're a couple of months out from TravelEase. They're going to be app-based, web-based.
Yeah.
TravelEase, sorry.
Yeah, you're
sorry.
right.
There's so many things. Yes, TravelEase. So
I know I can't keep up with it myself.
It's going to be app-based, web-based. When are we hoping to have it?
It's going to be web app, because seemingly that's more accessible. So I'm currently working on the functionality of it all to make sure everything's accessible, to make sure that screen readers and voice recognition can be used, so that it allows everybody to make this as simple as possible, as easy as possible.
I assume the Accessibility Act, which it's this month actually, the Accessibility Act, which is now a thing this month, I assume that makes a huge difference in terms of the design and build of like apps and websites, to have this as a consideration from the get-go.
Yeah, well, to be honest, whenever it's held back a couple of months, because I was looking for web app designers, and everybody that I kind of went to or approached, as soon as I mentioned the word accessibility, it scared them. So I actually had to go as far as Norwich, and I got a team over there that their core and their is accessibility and good for tech. I have a team of fantastic developers, and it started off where I was pushing them, and like, this is needed, and they're like, we're going to do this section first, Shelley, where it's the first chapter. And now they're on board with me, and they're like, we need to add this, we need to add the other. But not only that, they're sent me an email saying, can we do a Zoom right now? So it means that they're keeping up with me. I don't have to wait 2 weeks and wonder what is going on, because my mind it doesn't work like that. It's very businesslike, and it needs done.
I've kind of, in the last 40 odd minutes or so, I've already learned that, where it's like, okay, next. Oh yeah, that's good. Is that done? Yeah, great. Okay, I want you to do this now as well. I can see this being how the process. Oh, that's wonderful. Thanks so much. Okay, now can we add this piece?
So can I add another thing in as well? Because I'm just home from London. I've become I'm on the advisory board for a new forum which was launched on Wednesday. It's called the Accessible Hospitality Alliance, and it was absolutely fantastic. So I nicknamed it the Aha. So
So I feel like this conversation is getting very chaotic, and I love it.
So there was a room full of just passionate people in that room to push accessibility, and I just feel that it was a spark that was going to ripple and cause a movement. It really is. So I hope that momentum keeps going. And on top of that, I am somehow meant to be doing a TEDx on the 26th of June. So I am revising hard, and I'm having to do that by getting somebody to record my speech and listen to it morning, noon and night. So technology has been an absolute lifeline for me. If it hasn't been electronic standing frames where I've been strapped in like a bionic woman, it's been wheelchairs, it's been electronic beds, it's been voice recognition, you name it. I have put technology to the absolute max through my illness. And you know what? It has taken both the physical and the digital environments to get me to where I am today.
I absolutely love it. I think there's one more avenue for this conversation. Then we'll actually.
Oh God.
So Access Avenue.
Yes.
Where the hell did that come in as part of this overall ecosystem? Because we've got Just Us and we've got TravelEase.
TravelEase. Yeah.
There we go.
Access Avenue is basically, it says it provides a pathway to show businesses how to become accessible. So it's just, I'm a researcher and a champion and also a consultant for accessibility. So that's where that came in. It actually branches. Just Us is completely different. It's not for profit, and Access Avenue is the umbrella of my business. So it's I go out to different businesses. I've actually been asked to go to a private home, and they were on Airbnb or whatever, and they wanted to become more inclusive and accessible. And I told them a few wee places where they could. And you know what? I was so impressed because within 3 days they had everything nearly ticked off that list. There wasn't much. It was even simple things. It's that was going to be Irish. Get a large bin in, for the bathrooms. Take down a plant pot because somebody was going to hit their head. Simple wee things that just stand in the way of people being able to maneuver and get round, And they've taken every single one of the things that I've talked about on board, including purchasing a hoist and taking out a wee compartment of a bathroom. That,
I feel like that's something that all hotels should have. I know it's probably something that they don't consider, but I think that's something that every hotel should have in their back
that
pocket.
would be my absolute dream. That's not just hotels, but shopping centres, anywhere. Can you imagine as a local or a tourist visiting your local shopping centre and not being able to toilet? That was my reality. Everywhere I went, I had to come home just to be toileted. Now, thankfully, in Enniskillen, I'm, out of my wheelchair 3 or 4 years. And in that time, we now have 3 changing places. But the thing is, our next one is 17 miles away. Our next one after that is Belfast, and the like of Tesco and the Castle, they all close. What do we do after 6 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the evening?
Yeah.
What do these people do? And the infrastructure is just not there yet. There's so much can be improved. But if it's simply just a hotel having a portable hoist that can go into several different rooms and accommodate, well, I think that's a very, very small ask for the hospitality sector.
Even as you said, they're about €1,200. It's like if that gets used even twice a year,
it gives somebody the chance to get away, and it would be used far more. I unfortunately know 2 people who can't find accommodation that suits their needs. One had to purchase a holiday home, and the other had to renovate a large van. Now, this is the type of thing that's going on just to be able to get away. And it's crazy. And I love my pet. I love my dog to bits. But in this day and age, we are we're making spaces accessible to our pets more than we are to our humans. And this is where I think life has to draw the line. There are more pet-friendly hotels than there are fully accessible. There are less than 20 fully accessible hotels, wait for it, in the UK and Ireland. And
that's a joke.
It blows your mind, doesn't it?
That's a joke. Honestly.
Now, when I say hotels, 1 room in that hotel.
Yeah.
That brings it down even more.
There's somebody else already there, you can't go.
You can't go.
Fucking me.
And if you're going, you're putting, the like of your carers, well, your family members are being put to strain by lifting. It's not as, it's less difficult for children as they're lighter. But as adults age and we get heavier, you're putting more strain on what becomes our older parents. And then if you go down the route of agency or carers, that is something they're not allowed to do. They're not allowed to lift.
My mama ain't picking me up nowadays. Even if she really wanted, even if she really wanted, she's not doing it.
No, I'd say she'd give it a try.
Oh no, I'm a tubby little boy these days. Jesus Christ, she'd throw whatever is left of her fucking back trying to lift me up. Like, my God. I wouldn't even try and lift me. But no, I get it. Like, so the 20 between UK and Ireland, like, I understand so obviously why something like Access Avenue is needed. So like a hotel or a hospitality kind of company can come to you and go, this is what we do now, help?
Yeah.
Or like, is it something like you have like a checklist there that they can start running through, or is it more bespoke that we look at what they have and
It's
go for
so
it?
bespoke because every business is different. So I'm actually working with a glass factory locally, and so it's not just hotels. I'm going in and just seeing what can be done to help not just the staff that are working there at the minute, but to improve it for the future so that anybody with any disability can actually feel that they can be part of that business and become inclusive, so that they actually can feel, well, I can actually apply. But this is the funny thing when I say apply, there's grants available for me to help, fund a tech and get it started. I can't even apply for them because I use voice assistive technology. Even the application forms are not accessible. So that excludes before we even enter.
That's
And
ridiculous. How would you not get super stressed out by this all of the time? Like, I actually understand why you now. I understand why you have like these 3 avenues and you do the speaking, because it's always like
the
if I had
speaking
to,
is the bit that I was so worried about, because
no,
I was so shy and I didn't want to raise my voice, but I know that I have to, so that
yeah.
I went and I had to get, I have
Like
to do
I'm
it.
bothered now listening to the story. I'm just like 20 hotels in the UK and Ireland. We have more dog-friendly hotels than people-friendly hotels. That's the line I think I'm going to go away with from
90% now. We talk about customer satisfaction. 90% of the people that I interviewed are dissatisfied with their customer service or what the provision they're given. This needs to change. It really does.
This is mental.
But I must give a shout out. I go to Dublin quite a bit, and Dublin has been my escape. MDI in Dublin is Muscular Dystrophy Ireland. It's called Home from Home. And if people out there, wheelchair users or anybody with mobility issues, please get in touch, because they have oh my God, unbelievable facilities. There's hoists in the room, there's profiling beds. I was able to have my first bath in 20 years in MDI because it allowed me to be hoist lifted from my bed right to over the bath. It has everything you need. It has a table that can go up and down to allow whatever size of wheelchair you are in, so that everybody has a right to be at that table.
Fuck yeah.
And it's these type of facilities that just mean the world to me now. The only thing is, it's not mainstream. You
Sure.
imagine if we had a wedding, an anniversary, a birthday party, and it's all taking place in a certain venue or it's taking place in a hotel. And you go and you want to stay with your friends and family, but you can't. Even if they put a change in place downstairs so that they can be toileted throughout the day, that is one commitment that actually could change that person's life, because they could actually attend these celebrations, really, which
Yeah.
we all take for granted.
My mind is actually blown and boggled by this. I'm not gonna. No, like you're actually like you're brilliant, but what you're working on, all avenues are like it's so fascinating
But
because
they
like
all
it's.
intertwine.
But it all, that's the
They're all
thing. There's
aligned. Yeah.
it says to me that there's this overarching thing of a section of our society that is essentially, for want of a better word, ignored and abandoned. So the only people that are
Excluded.
actually going to step
Yeah.
up and actually
Yeah.
scream about it and fix it.
And unfortunately, if one day it could be any one of the people listening, and they could all be in the same situation. Now, I'm not going to, I'm here to also celebrate the good in what has happened.
Yes.
There's boating opportunities on Lough Erne that are now accessible. Not just accessible, but they're quiet because they're solar panelled. They're good for sensory. These things are up and coming. And, people know more about accessibility and inclusion. And I feel that we are really, really on a cusp of something really good about to happen. My concern is what's happening across the water. Please don't let this happen over here. We need to stand up, and this is the time to fight back. And, you fight fire with fire, and if that's what we got to do, we got to do it.
Yeah. No, this is. I'm mind blown. I genuinely no, but this is why this exact conversation is why I fucking do this. I've learned. I'm coming away going right. I've learned something of note and of use today, but like, there's also so many aspects and different like puzzle pieces here that It's like, right, we can improve technology, we can improve hospitality, we can improve people's lives, but it all comes back to this human-centered
It is.
focus. It's not like, yeah, okay, if we can make a few quid on the way, fucking excellent. But from a hotel's perspective, if they want to be purely profit-driven and purely selfish, the numbers in the billions. So get off your ass, go buy a hoist, go maybe make 1 or 2 extra rooms there accessible. Because once one person has a lovely experience, guess what? We're going to get more. It's almost like referrals are important for business. You fucking idiots, go do your thing.
It's not even that. Can I ask anyone listening, if you see someone struggling to get through a door, please help. If you see somebody using an accessible parking that doesn't have a blue badge, please say something. Stand up for these people who are the majority of the time are voiceless. Stand up for them because they're going through enough in life. If you see somebody being discriminated against, stand up for them. Stand up for them. And with kindness, we can also move this on. Because unless people know, nothing will change.
Nah, you're brilliant. You're actually brilliant. I don't think I have any other questions here for today. Is there anything that you feel like we need to talk about or mention that we haven't covered?
No. Just think. That's the one thing I would say is think of others as you go through your daily living, and think, even can a pram, a buggy fit down this path? Please don't park on curbs. How can a wheelchair user get past? Simple things. Just be a bit more mindful, a bit more considerate, and welcome everybody into whatever space you have, whether that be digital or physical.
100%. So, right, if anybody wants to find any of your list of brands or reach out to you yourself, give me the big podcast sign off. Where to find you? What's happening? How do we get in touch?
Well, you can find me on Access Avenue on my website, but the main place would be LinkedIn through Shelley Cowan. I'm also known as the Purple Lady, again, as it's the Purple Pound and it's for accessibility and disability. I have been given this nickname as the Purple Lady and I am embracing it. I love it. So as you see, I'm wearing purple. So
I know this.
I'm
I thought
on
it was
Facebook.
Just a color.
I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, you name it, I'm on TikTok, and if it's not through Shelley Cowan, it's the Purple Lady. So
fantastic. No, like honestly, from my perspective, my brain is very rattled after this. But like from my perspective,
in a good way, I hope.
No, it is like like as I said to you a while ago, there's someone I need you to talk to, and there's 100 things swirling up here right now, and like okay, there's definitely bits we can do because like holy shit, it's so obvious it should be front and center of people.
I think what's happened is 30 years ago, a lot of people with disabilities were hidden. A world was built around us, not for us.
Yeah.
And what's happened now is people are starting to see people with disabilities getting out and about, going to travel, and they want to do it too. And unfortunately, our infrastructure is not suitable. And if it's not good for one single trip, well, how are we going to be good for group of competitors, competition sports, Paralympics? What happens if you have 2 wheelchair users in the same family? We can't go on holiday together. The buses, our local public transport, can take 1 wheelchair at a time. That means if you want to go to Belfast or you want to go everywhere, you have to get 2 buses, maybe 2 hours apart.
So this is all. It's like when you put it like in that terms, it's also obvious. Like if I would be saying, right, if you're a business that wants to get better with accessibility, look up Access Avenue. Is it .co.uk or .com?
It's .co.uk. Get me on LinkedIn. That is where you can get me. Yeah,
cool.
That's where I'll answer easier through this voice assistant to answer a lot of people.
Cool. So basically, Shelley Cowan on LinkedIn. If you want to find out how to make a business more accessible, that's first port of call. If you're a hotel, hospitality, if you're a venue, that
activity, attraction,
then we're going to talk TravelEase. So we've got literally on the first piece, improve your accessibility. Talk to her about Access Avenue. If you're a hospitality venue who wants to literally showcase your accessibility and improve on it and literally be listed on the new app that's going to be coming, guess what? Go talk to her as well. Mm-hmm. And if we're in places around the country who want to do events where we can make it more accessible and bring a whole bunch of people together and build a whole community, guess what?
I also have one thing that really grates me. Now, imagine being on a benefit and you want to go and do something, and that benefit is enough to keep you ticking. But to go to a lot of these places, you not just pay for yourself, you pay for your carer on top of that. So you're being double hit. Can I ask venues as much as possible to give the concession ticket to a carer, please? Because we wouldn't be there without them. But please give everybody an experience and an opportunity where they can. And even that simple is so effective. It just shows how inclusive people will get.
Okay. I told you hearing that. Stop giving a free roam to influencers. Give it to a carer. It's almost like it makes fucking sense. You don't need another influencer in there getting a free dinner. Send the care, give the carer the concession.
And can we put a campaign out there to get rid of the wheelchair symbol and make an inclusive one?
What would the symbol be? What do we want our symbol to be?
Oh, I don't know. We could run a competition, couldn't we? Artists out there, please.
Honestly, yeah. Like the symbol is
78% is wheelchair users. We need to come up with a symbol that no longer makes people look at somebody with a disability and already think they are undermined. We need something that empowers people with disabilities.
Absolutely, A1. I think for me that's it for today. I don't have anything else. So I'm gonna do the big shouty sign off thing here now. So we're just gonna. Okay, so everybody, we are on every single platform apart from X. It's Goosed_ie. We don't screw with X. We don't like that place. Bold, Elon, you did some bad things. We're not friends anymore. So we're on TikTok. We're on Instagram. We are on Facebook. We are on YouTube. We are on Spotify. Everywhere where you get news articles or podcasts, we are there. So good night, good morning, goodbye, good evening. And if you're a hotel, do the fucking thing. It's very simple. We can make it all better. And Shelley, thank you so much. This has genuinely been so much fun. Like, and I've learned so much, but like, it's been great crack talking to you. Like, you're genuinely like, you're a bit nuts, but you're incredible, and I love it.
Oh, I'm not a bit nuts. I'm your nutty crust.
Perfect. Well, I didn't want to be the one to say that, but anyway, here we are. So no, thank you so much, and I really appreciate it. And I'm going to have to obviously send you a few bits on the side. So I think for now today, we're going to end it on that. So everybody,